So I recently finished watching the latest Super Mario Bros. Movie and it got me thinking, why did people like Mario so much? Was it his iconic look, his catchy phrases, or was it just the simplicity of Mario himself? Well, for me, what really makes Mario so iconic was his ability to never back down from a challenge, to brush off failures like it's nothing and to continue on despite the circumstances. In fact, that's actually a core component of most of the Mario video games. I mean, you would kind of continue on, fail again and again, learn from your mistakes, get better so you can push past the obstacles. Now I'm gonna date myself a little bit back here, but I remember playing Super Mario Land on the Game Boy and I remember just being obsessed with it. Even though it was such a difficult game, dying again and again and again, I just continued playing and I wanted to overcome the obstacles, nail the jumps, defeat the enemies, and of course, save Princess Peach. And that's really when it hit me, that the dopamine rush from video games actually comes from you overcoming obstacles. Not necessarily winning the game, not necessarily getting the rewards, but by overcoming odds, that's where most of the fun from video games actually come, at least for me, that is. So that actually brings me to today's topic, the gameplay loop of life. How can we implement this mindset into actually bettering our lives, right? What if our life, real life, was a game, and obviously life has a lot of obstacles. So I'm really excited to actually introduce this topic to you guys, and let's get into it. Now, I have this obsession with winning, both in video games as well as in real life. And I think many people share this trait with me as well. I mean, winning is just awesome, right? But it is so much sweeter when we have to overcome odds to actually win. I mean, if you actually play video games or you play any sort of competitive sports, when you actually really beat your opponent in a really difficult game, it is just so much more rewarding than actually winning through someone for feeding a match or actually winning a really easy game, for example. And I mean, going back to just Mario itself, I mean, imagine if the Mario games was just one straight path without any enemies, without any jumps, any power-ups, and the princess is just waiting at the end, not in another castle, and you just had to walk all the way to the end and you would win the game. Doesn't sound very fun, does it? So in real life as well, I think what we actually trick ourselves to believe is that we want the easy life. We want that silver spoon, right? We want everything to come very easily. But what we don't realize is that if everything came really easily, we would lose that sense of excitement, that fun that we had by overcoming obstacles. So what do we tell ourselves? We tell ourselves that we dread the difficult things, right? We don't want to do the hard things in life. We actually try to put it off and we want to be comfortable. But the problem here is that when we do this, when we're constantly seeking comfort and actually putting up discomfort, we make the game so much more difficult than it has to be. Playing the game just becomes a slog. Because imagine if life was this video game, right? And everyone's playing it. I mean, it's not like we really have a choice. We have to play it. But if we're constantly, not looking forward to all the obstacles, when in fact the obstacles, the challenges, doing the hard things are what actually is going to allow us to get the rewards, to feel good about playing the game, well then playing the game is just going to be not fun at all. It's going to be such a slog. And in fact, I recently watched this 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝘀 podcast and he had this really cool quote on comfort that I want to share. And the quote was, "Comfort creates self-care, discomfort creates self-worth." It is the discomfort that actually allows us to build our self-confidence, build our skills, and hence actually level up and progress in life. And what I love so much about the latest Super Mario Bros. Movie is that it really gave a lot of personality to Mario, because in the video games, you just get this little silhouette and you kind of control him pushing on. But in the movie, you really saw Mario's personality, his ability to never give up and to just put on a brave face, to be positive despite the circumstances and to march on. It can be something really crazy, but he would just kind of go on. He wouldn't think twice, right? Because he knew that he had a goal at the end and only by doing the hard things can he level up. So he's not even worried about failing. He just knows that this is what he has to do, so he is going to do it. And that's why we all love Mario, right? So what I would want you to try doing is I want you to imagine and put this perspective into your mind, that to actually flip the script, that all the things that we dread to do, that we're worried about, whether it may be health, wealth, relationships, whatever it is. Maybe you dread going to the gym. Maybe you actually dread doing the hard things to get money, to actually improve your finances. Well, now I want you to imagine all the hard things, and those hard things are actually opportunities for you to level up, opportunities for you to get better. And this is how you start to implement the gameplay loop of life into your own life. I mean, what is the gameplay loop of life, right? Well, the gameplay loop of life is you actually leveling up in life, overcoming obstacles, getting those rewards, and then using those rewards, using whatever you gain to overcome the next obstacle. And it goes on again and again. We see this very clearly in a lot of video games where you go through the level, you're gonna fail a bunch of times, but you're gonna get better because you're gonna learn your mistakes. And as you do this, you're gonna progress. Eventually, you might beat the game, but it doesn't end right there, right? You go on to the next stage and you do it all over again, and this is fun to you. So why shouldn't it be fun in your own real life as well, with your health, with your wealth, finances, whatever it is? This can be something that you can do and flip the script on, but it starts by you actually thinking that you can actually do that. Now, from my personal experience, I've always battled with my mindset on money. Not in the sense that, I never had enough money or anything, but I always felt like, money was so scarce. There was never enough, and I didn't want to actually put in the work to actually gain more money in life. I mean, it's really so tiring working a 9-to-5 job, and we have all this like work-life balance. We want to actually enjoy the life, spend money properly, not overwork and all this stuff. But it's not until I flipped the script and I realized that the obstacles in life, that making money was a game, that I shouldn't actually dread doing the difficult things, trying out new things to actually create more money, that it became so fun to me. So I started to learn more. I started to try new things. I started this YouTube channel, right? I'm just a nerd. I'm just trying things out, but it's fun to me because I start to see that all these little things that I'm trying are the little obstacles in this gameplay loop of life, that if I'm able to overcome them, if I'm able to master them, then it's going to put me in a better position towards my goals. So once I start to realize that obstacles now aren't something that I dread. In fact, they're something that excites me. It's something that I want to learn how to overcome, to actually try and practice, to learn the tricks, the tips, the techniques to do so. And this is obviously going to come with time. But this little mindset shift now makes things a lot more exciting for me, right? I'm no longer just coming home and just feeling really tired. I'm drained. I don't want to do anything more. But instead, I'm like, what can I do today to actually, improve my life? What can I do today to do something a little bit better? And this has completely shifted the direction of how I proceed in life. So if you're a nerd like me and you want to implement this gamer mindset into your own real life, well, I got 5 frameworks. Of course, they're going to be inspired by video games on how you can start actually thinking things a little bit differently, and these are some things that you can try out. Of course, I'm not saying that obstacles aren't meant to be difficult. They're called obstacles, they're called challenges for a reason, but there are 2 ways to approach it. You can dread doing it, you can constantly put it off, and you're gonna get more and more anxious because you're not exactly doing the things that you need to do, or you can approach it in a way that you're really excited to tackle it, to overcome it, just like Mario himself. So you get to choose, because there is the obstacle right there and you have to overcome it. How you do it is going to be up to you. So here are the 5 little frameworks for you to try out, and let's go ahead and get started. So framework 1, attach a reward to overcoming an obstacle. You see, in video games, we get motivated to tackle tasks to overcome obstacles because we're hit by an instant dopamine rush, an instant reward. Maybe we get some experience, we get some money, or maybe we just simply level up. Well, in real life, progress goes along a lot slower. So we actually have to create this dopamine rush, create the rewards ourselves. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something materialistic or something that is going to actually hinder our progress, but it can be something as simple as writing down how you feel after overcoming that obstacle. Just understanding that you're making some sort of progress when you push past a challenge. So for example, maybe you went to the gym, right? And it was really difficult that day, you were so tired, but after the gym, you felt really good. You were proud of yourself that you pushed yourself to go to the gym. Well, after the gym, just write how you're feeling, that you were proud that even though you were tired, you pushed past it, so you're a little closer to your goal. Something as simple as that. And as you compound it and do it again and again, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. You just have to do it one day at a time. Number 2, strategize how you're going to overcome the challenge. I mean, in a video game, if you're failing overcoming a boss or overcoming a certain obstacle, well, you need to think what exactly is stopping you. You need to try different strategies. You need to try different techniques, right? Same thing in life. You need to try to identify, why are you not accomplishing a certain task? Is it because you're doing something and you're really tired and you just don't have enough energy to accomplish it? Or maybe as you go about your day, you realize that maybe after you shower and after you eat, you feel really tired and lazy and you don't want to do the certain task anymore. We need to modify and understand, why aren't we accomplishing what we say we want to accomplish? So for me, for example, I know know that after I shower and I eat, well, I get really tired after the day. So whatever task that I want to accomplish, I make sure that I do it before I do these two things. And I always get it done then, because I try to actually identify what was the blocker to actually stopping me from overcoming that obstacle. This can be applied to a lot of different factors, but sit down and actually write down your strategy. Treat it like a game. Remember, every obstacle, treat it like a game. You can overcome it, you just have to strategize to see how you can exactly do it. Framework number 3, reset after each day. And what I mean by this is that don't carry forward all the negativity, all that feeling of dread into the next day. You know, let's be honest, not every day is going to go well, and in fact, sometimes life can be pretty tough, right? Let's be honest. And I mean, taking video games as an example, when you're playing as Mario per se, well, you're going to die a lot. In fact, that is part of the whole experience, right? You're going to fail some jumps, enemies are going to defeat you, you're going to fall into some traps. But if you let all these little failures defeat you, then what is the point of the video game? You're just gonna give up and never touch it again. Now, in real life, every single day is a whole new start. After you sleep and you wake up, it's a whole new day, and you get to dictate the momentum you take from the previous day into the next day. Are you going to take that feeling of like you failing and you're not going to be able to accomplish anything, or are you going to clean the slate and actually approach the next day with a lot of optimism? If you do actually watch the latest Super Mario Bros. Movie, you can just see how optimistic Mario is despite the circumstances. You know, whenever he fails, he just wipes it right off and he just goes straight for the challenge again, not thinking about what happened the previous day. Lesson number 4, think of failures as lessons. Now, the game of life are going to be filled with failures because obstacles are meant to be difficult, and because it is difficult, sometimes you just simply fail, right? It's out of your control because you don't know the right things to do yet, you weren't prepared, you weren't at a high enough level, so you did fail. But what you can take away from it, however, is the lessons that you learned, so that the next time you try to overcome it, you will do it a lot smarter, a lot better, you'll be better prepared. And this is the gameplay loop. By you doing the challenge, you are meant to fail. People are so afraid of failure, and I think this is what really separates people from really being successful, by taking in failures as opportunities to grow and not necessarily as opportunities to stop doing what they're doing. If you play video games, you know this really well. When you mess up a specific section, the next time you are at that section, you will be a lot more careful, you will try out different techniques, and that is what allows you to progress through that jump. But if you keep doing the same thing again and again and again without actually modifying stuff, without learning anything, then you're just gonna get the same results. So you actually have to think of these failures as actually opportunities to learn. Like, this should be exciting to you sometimes to fail, because failing meant that you now have more tools, more knowledge, so that you can progress further in the game of life. And framework 5 is you want to set a time to actually play the game. Now, let's be real, we can't simply play a video game all the way through. Eventually, we get fatigued, we might even get bored of playing the game, and when that happens, well, we're not going to actually play it really well, and worse yet, we might get bored and stop playing altogether. So you actually have to space out the time that you overcome these challenges. There's going to be a lot of challenges in life, right? So you want to strategize in a way that when you do eventually choose to tackle a challenge, set a time where you're going to really dedicate yourself to pushing through the obstacles, strategizing, planning, really doing your best, and once you're done, shut it down. Close the game and just relax, recharge, and try it again. This is going to be so much more efficient than you just going at it again and again and again, even though you're burnt out, and keep on trying to pushing and eventually just feeling bitter, you know, getting bored, getting angry, and that's just going to hinder your progress. Instead, set a set time. For example, if you're trying to learn a skill or something like that, just play the game for an hour or two. Set that time to really learn, develop the skills, and once you accomplish what you say you want to accomplish on that day, shut the game down and then play again tomorrow when you're all recharged. This is really important that I feel people don't do enough of. They don't take enough rest. They just push themselves all the way to burnout without actually resting and listening to their body. You want the game to be fun, right? Winning is fun, yes, but also playing the game, actually being at your best when you're actually tackling these obstacles is part of doing well in the game of life. So that's about it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of content, and if you did, you know what to do. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to this channel for a lot more of these kinds of content. I'm obsessed about winning in life. I enjoy self-growth, I enjoy making money, and I love video games. So if you enjoy all these kind of things, I'm going to be experimenting with a lot more kinds of content using this format here, and just to see where things go, right? Because my objective is to learn how to overcome the obstacles, how to really win, and actually how to just have a great time doing so. And I think video games are just such a great catalyst to actually teach all these little lessons, and I hope you really enjoyed what you learned here as well. So remember, the greatest gameplay loop of life is actually overcoming obstacles, because when you do it, you level up, you get all the great things, and you get to repeat the process indefinitely again and again and again. Find a way to enjoy it instead of simply looking forward towards the rewards and ignoring the obstacles. It is all part of the process, so learn to embrace everything in itself. So that's about it for the video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys again in the very next one. Take care. Peace.